are some people in their lives that they have a fear of negatively impacting that relationship if they
Yes.
are more assertive, if they are claiming their space, right? As an
Yes.
individual.
Yes. I can see how some people will just be like, you know what? I hear what you're saying, but I have too much at stake. And I don't want to jeopardize, the balance that I have right now. I don't want to jeopardize my relationship. I don't want to jeopardize my family. And that's okay. It's nothing to be, to feel ashamed about or anything like that. Some people just don't feel that it's worth, having to restructure their whole lives or having to redefine who they are and stuff like that, which is fine. But there are people out there that they simply do not wish to go on this way, whether it's with their careers or their relationships or their personal self, uh, their personal sense of satisfaction in life. Somehow they manage to survive with this balance. Um, the example or the analogy I like to use, it's like, you see someone sitting on the chair and you can notice that the chair is kind of wobbly. Maybe it's not the strongest or the best quality chair, but that's the chair they're sitting on, right? So here you are, it's like, your chair looks pretty wobbly. Let me take away that chair. You take away the chair, but then you don't know how long it's going to take you to bring them another chair to sit on, right? So if I show up in your life and say, oh, that chair is not stable, I'll pull it from under you, then you'll fall. And that'll be the reason why you fall, even though my intentions were, I had good intentions. So there's this balance that you have to find when you're trying to help someone. If you destroy their belief systems, you have to be able to replace those with something stronger than they can build on.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, you're just going around making a mess,
Mm-hmm.
right? So this is why the commitment comes in, because once we start digging into certain things, yes, it would your foundation will crumble, right? Then we're gonna have to rebuild it, and we have to have that commitment to go all the way through. Otherwise, yeah, things can get a little dicey.
Have you ever seen the movie The Wizard of Oz?
Yes,
The original that starts in black and white and then turns into Technicolor?
sure.
Okay. She said, I feel like my life, I've lived my life for so long in the first half of the movie in black and white.
Okay.
And now, and then the house was spinning and the
Mm-hmm.
house landed and the door opened and I see the beautiful colors out there outside the door. And I want to live in that. I want to step into that color so I can live there.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm standing at the door and I'm really scared to take that step because I don't know what to expect. So her fear came down to not knowing what to expect because although she was living in this uncomfortable comfort zone, right? Like that's what I
Mm-hmm.
call it, an uncomfortable comfort zone. It's predictable.
Yep.
But now when you change the way you interact with people, when you step through that door into Technicolor,
Yes.
now you don't know what to expect. And that can be really scary for people. People that really take comfort in predictability.
Oh yeah. Like the fear of the unknown is a thing,
Mm-hmm.
right? And that's the motivation. That's the motivation behind most people's decision making. That's the reason why anybody settles for anything, really, is because it's like a bird in the hand is better than two in the bush, right? Is that the correct
Yes.
expression? So
Yeah.
it's like at least I know what I have, right?
Right.
The rest is just promises. So it's like, do I want to believe these promises will make my life better, or do I just want to take my chances with what I have right now? Right. And that's always, like a coin toss with people. You never know which way they're going to go. I mean, you can try to convince them and kind of show them the value and all that stuff. In what I do, like everybody comes to like a gut check moment where, and I need to see this. I never wanted to put myself in position to convince someone to seek change.
Right.
you know, I'll start to talk to you about certain things and bring your attention to certain things. But ultimately, I want to see that gut check moment where it's like, am I going left or right? Am I staying here or am I taking that step forward? You know? And to some people, it's a bit easier than for others. Some people are risk takers by nature, right? And certain people just don't have that. They they'll cling to anything that sounds and feels familiar because that's safety.
Right. Right.
That's safety. So how do you change that about someone? It's doable. However, they have to at least commit to taking that first step toward change. Some people would say that usually when people hit rock bottom, right? So if you don't have anything else to lose, then what are you holding on to? Then that's when they start the journey of transformation. Um, Hopefully, we won't all have to hit rock bottom for us to decide to make changes in our lives. But unfortunately, some people need that being in a position of no return to be able to move forward. And I see it happen all the time. And it's a really, really hard, like high price to pay just to know that something has to change. My dad used to say, like, experience is the best school, but it's the most expensive. If you want to wait till you experience the pain of whatever it is, that direction you're in right now, the pain of seeing what this could possibly turn into versus just looking ahead and seeing that, you know what I mean, this is not necessarily where I want to be in life. And maybe I should start making changes. So I don't have to experience the pain of the worst it can get before I make that decision.
Mm-hmm.
But people do it. People have to wait until they see the worst it can get before they decide to make a decision.
What you just described are two different types of people. The ones that have to hit rock bottom in order
Mm-hmm.
to decide that they want to make a change
Mm-hmm.
and seek help for it. Um, and then there are people that don't, that say, you know what, I don't want to have to do that. I want to avoid all of that. Or in other words, I recognize that I'm not 100% fulfilled, you know. I know that I could probably work on me um so that I can be happier. Uh and I'm ready to do that. I'm at a point in my life where I'm ready to do that. Things are okay, but
Yeah.
they could be so much better, I think.
Mm-hmm.
There are some people that are really afraid to look at themselves, because then that means that they might have to take responsibility for the crisis
Yes.
patterns that continue happening in their life, or for failed relationships that happen in their life.
Yes.
or for all kinds of things.
Yes.
They might have to, they're going to have to now take responsibility for the role that they play
Exactly.
in those events. And some people are a maybe well, fear is part of it, but the fear is that they're not emotionally capable of handling that level of self responsibility and accountability.
Yes.
They're
Yes.
afraid to look in the mirror because they don't know how to deal with the emotions that are going to come with that. Like, this was my role, these elements of the scenario, this is the role that I played in that, and I don't know how I
Yes.
handle that.
Like that's a great point you just made. And interestingly enough, there is a whole chapter in the book about what exactly trauma does to people. It turns you into character types, right? So someone going through life as a victim, that's one of those types.
Victim.
I defined 5 types in the book, right?
Okay.
And the victim type is one of those types. And then you have the people that tend to avoid responsibility, right? That's one type. The people that become the aggressor, right? The anger, take it out on everyone they can, right? And then the people that become like the hero type, they want to give and give and give and give and give, cannot stop giving, right? And then the people that are the regressors. You know how people is like, how some children are going through regression?
Yes.
Okay, everybody goes through regression. And depending on what type of trauma you've been through and what character type that trauma has turned you into, you can be regressing. And that's the 5 types. And you heard it first because I've never told anyone outside of my
My
office
lips are
about
sealed.
the 5 types.
Wow, that is amazing.
So that's the proxy diet, right? So if you are the type of person that you feel sorry for yourself, then that is your diet. You will continue to create circumstances in which you will feel you'll be the victim. You always be the victim, right? Or people that become the aggressors. You realize that some people always come to you and complain about how this person is making them angry and blah, 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 blah. Everything is also anger and frustration driven because nothing is just working the way they want. So they constantly create these circumstances and they feed on it. They feed on it. So if you try to help someone that comes to you with a crisis, talking about, this person is making me angry and this person wants to destroy my life, and you try to deal with that crisis, you're wasting your time. Because by the time you're done dealing with this one, they're going to create another crisis next week because that's their diet. They have to feed.
Mhm.
So that's why you have to get to the bottom of where the trauma came from and how they became this character type. So that's the idea.
That is genius. That is genius, Tevi.
Thank you.